Hello, everyone. Welcome to another authentic conversation with Adele Bernard. I am your host, and we are in season 3. I can't believe it. And just a little bit about transition clarity and authentic conversations. This podcast got started by beautiful people reaching out to me and saying that they like the way I interview, they love what we share on these podcasts, and I do hope you share and subscribe and tell everyone about them because I truly believe that this is a way of so many of us getting our voices out, telling the truth on who we are and how we're here to help support others in this human journey. And within Transition Clarity, it is my honor to help men, especially, come to understand who they are, the truth of who they are, how they're supposed to share their inner gifts to the world. And we do this through individual coaching, mentorship, or an 8-week program. And if you're interested in hearing more, please check out our posted coffee chats either on LinkedIn or on Facebook. So, let me introduce our guest today. Kathleen is the founder of Positive Pathways Now. She helps her clients who are stressed out to restore balance using practical, individualized mind body tools that actually work. She is a seasoned life career coach, longtime certified yoga instructor, and certified alcohol free coach. She is dedicated to guiding her clients to elevate their physical and mental health. She spends years in corporate as a human resource leader and transitioned from corporate to bringing her passion for wellness where people can grow, thrive, and transform. Her mission is to help her clients feel more alive through customized blend of movement, mindful meditation, and mindset practice. She loves working with beginners, especially those who've been curious about mindfulness, yoga, or the soberish lifestyle. She promised to take good care of you and to meet you where you are at on the journey. And with that, let's welcome Kathleen. Welcome to the show, Kathleen. Um, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Great. So as I said in the pre-production, I read what you give me, but now I want to dive down and get a little bit more from your personal side.
Yeah,
How do you go from corporate HR
yeah,
to mindfulness,
yeah,
sober living, yoga, like that whole embodiment of the
yeah.
here's one side, now here's the other side.
Yeah. Aren't they, kind of opposite sides, really, for me, of the same coin? And, it's not like I had this lightning bolt kind of moment. I really didn't. It was more of a slow burn. I was in corporate for a really long time.
Mhm.
I have over 30 years of experience, and I wasn't getting out, anytime soon when I started to really feel the stress and knew that I needed some other tools. When I discovered yoga over 20 years ago now, right? I still was in that corporate space.
Mhm.
And what was really nice about it, when I first started studying yoga and really looking into getting certified, I thought, I'm just doing this for me. This is just for Kathleen. I'm probably not going to end up teaching. I knew that I needed something more in my life to help me cope, to give me a little more capacity.
Mhm.
And at the end of my teacher training, I remember very clearly my yoga teacher saying to me, Kathleen, you need to teach yoga. The world needs this. And I took that message really seriously. And I thought, you know what? I am gonna put it out there. I'm gonna try to move into that space while maintaining my corporate job, of course. I began teaching a Christian yoga class. That
Mhm.
was sort of my first entry. I literally walked into a church that was right across the street from where I was living. And the pastor happened to be there. I introduced myself and I said, well, what do you guys think about me bringing in a Christian yoga program here? And he was like, I love it. Sounds great. When do you want to get started? And that was wonderful, right? So that was kind of the beginning. And that was, every Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock, I would, come right from my job and do the yoga program. And then I was teaching around at some other places, sometimes just teaching at like a Planet Fitness or a gym, which was kind of noisy and sort of the opposite of the yoga experience I was seeking. But just the same, it was some level of, balance or peace.
Mhm.
And that sort of it expanded me, that experience of being able to teach and offer that to other people. Eventually, I began a little meditation program at my job at lunchtime. We would come into this big conference room, and I had, various readings from different people that I was following, whether it was Marianne Williamson or Julia Cameron. And we would just kind of center ourselves with a reading, spend some time in silence, doing a period of meditation in corporate, which always felt very juxtaposed, right?
But it's
Meditating.
so not because
It's so, yeah,
I
it's
did
so
the same
needed.
thing.
It's so needed, right?
Hmm.
And I was also, inspired to teach in the corporate environment, right? This is all before COVID. So where we were together, we were in the office every day. And again, once a week at lunchtime, we'd have a yoga class. And some people would show up literally almost in their suits and ties and do yoga. Some people could do yoga just maybe sitting in a chair, right? Just maybe doing a little bit of sitting, a little bit of moving, using their arms and maybe not doing the full practice. But I guess I was trying to do corporate different. I was trying to do HR, right? Because I was the head of HR for a cybersecurity company, and I wanted people to experience more of what I knew was needed, those tools that we desperately needed to cope, whether it was a little bit of time in silence or some moving and breathing. I had shared with you when we spoke the first time that I feel really passionate about the mind body connection. I just don't feel like we can just be up here in our heads all day long. And say I feel the same is true, for the heart connection. We can talk about the heart connection, we can talk about the head connection, but we have to talk about the physical connection as well,
Hmm.
right? You're somebody who gets out and walks, right?
Hmm.
So that's kind of your meditating, you're out walking and breathing the fresh air and getting into nature. But a lot of people don't make time for that. And I just felt like that's my campaign. I want to get people thinking more about their bodies, about how they can bring a little more peacefulness into their lives. And it doesn't have to be this big wholesale change. Because for me, it wasn't, right? It was small steps over time where, sort of first it was the yoga, then came maybe a little more regular meditation practice, right? For some people, it's the other way around. And then I started to evaluate habits, rituals, that nightly glass of wine that wasn't serving me, or going to a beer tasting on the weekend when I was kind of feeling like garbage come Monday, right? And really starting to think about what more could I do to feel my best, to handle that big corporate job? Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up about the glass of wine and the beer because I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about it's as simple as making the decision to not have coffee before 90 minutes when you wake up.
Mm.
And I thought, interesting, because I don't drink coffee. right? And and then he says, and then once you get that under control, you say, okay, well, I'm not going to drink for 6 months,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And it's not like you're saying you have a problem with alcohol, you have a problem with whatever. It's just you're trying to change habits to come into the mindfulness of your body, right?
100%. Yeah.
And he says, and then you go to have that beer, that glass of wine, because you're like, well, I'm not an addict. I can have one. I chose to do this
Yeah.
experiment myself.
Yeah.
And he says it takes you 3 days to get rid of the one glass. How did you drink a bottle a night?
Right.
Right?
Right.
But then I also want to go back to the fact of even though we're working in corporate, we're still this mindful human,
Yeah.
right? I never got to the point that I was teaching yoga, but I did start book clubs and I did start different things to come together and start, right? And it was for me, it was the shift of back to the heart during the workday
Yeah.
of reading these spiritual books or these self-help books
Yeah.
and getting the input of people who were readers,
Mm.
not necessarily spiritual.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
they'd be like,
Mm.
this is spiritual? And I'm like,
Mm.
I know it's a book. Like I don't label things, right? I
Yeah.
go, you want to bring a book? Let's read the book. Other like some books were fantastic. Others put me into a tailspin of
Mm.
darkness, and I'm like,
Mm.
what the
Mm.
heck, right?
Mm. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they'd say there's two more books, and I go, I'm out. Like I can't do any more of these books. Like, and it wasn't that they weren't great books. Like the writer was great. Like couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you're sort of, mentioning something that's really important to me too, which is, building community through these practices. Right. So we could sit home alone and do meditation. We can sit home alone and do our yoga practice. But I really feel like, bringing people into community around these practices. Book club is a perfect example, right? Where we have some common ground. People want to come together for a certain reason, right? I currently teach a yoga class at my church here in Tampa, and it's a great excuse to get together on a Wednesday night, kind of a midweek reconnect, and we begin with a little meditation. We move and breathe together. There's usually some socialization afterwards. And it's just, a nice way to get people back in community because and you spoke about this the other day also on your podcast with Tyson, I think it was.
Okay.
And kind of post COVID, didn't we sort of like forget in a way, like how to do some of these things that were so normal before? Right? And I think there is a massive opportunity for people to come together around so many of these, wellness practices, mindfulness practices, whether it's yoga, meditation, book club, prayer time. We did a sober DJ dance party a couple of months back, right? And, people could bring their kids, and it was during the day, just kind of a safe space for people to come together and let's do something besides eat and drink together,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's what we normally do. You want to get together for a drink, you want to get together for a coffee, let's get together for dinner. But I was like, what else could we do besides eat and drink together, right?
Well, and I'm glad you brought this up because I've made a promise to myself for 2026 that I'm going to get out in the world again,
Yay.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I have realized most of my life I've spent it as an extrovert.
Mm.
COVID allowed me to be my natural introverted self,
Oh, yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so now I realize, like, yes, I like my introverted self, but my introverted self needs community.
Yeah.
I have community on Zoom. I don't have it in physical form.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so just before this call, I was like sitting here going, well, where could I go find some people,
Yeah.
like-minded people that I
Yeah.
can go and have community with?
Yeah.
That's not always about building guest lists for the podcast or networking for this and I just want to go and just be back in community.
Yeah, I
And
agree 100%. We
yeah.
did so much over Zoom. I was zoomed out. It was part of the reason I decided to retire last year from corporate. I was so tired of seeing myself on that computer screen, right? And just seeing other people on the computer screen. It was like, I need something more. I
Yeah.
need something different. And, now kind of on the entrepreneurial side of things. I go at least once a week to the Entrepreneurial Collaborative Center in Tampa, and I can be with people, a lot of people, right? They're coming out for this a million cups every Wednesday morning, dozens and dozens of people where we can just kind of say hello and share ideas and support one another,
Hmm.
right? We're not necessarily selling to one another, right?
Hmm.
That's kind of not the point. It's truly supportive. And I think we kind of miss that in society today. Where can we find our people? Where can we find our
Well,
support base? Right?
and yes, also, I wouldn't have found all the people I have in my life right now if it wasn't for the little magic square boxes,
You know what? You're
right?
absolutely right
Because
about that. Yes.
some of my closest just get me people is because I found them in a little square box and we
Yeah.
have a conversation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I like I look back at and I go, pre-COVID, I would have never found them.
Yeah.
Post-COVID, so glad they're in my life,
Hmm.
right?
You're absolutely right about that.
And
Yep.
so that doesn't um we both live in places that weren't as constricted
Mm.
through the COVID, right? So
It's true.
we're still coming up against those people that are going, this is wrong, we can't do this. And it's like, it's a choice. It's just like a choice of getting out of the brain and getting back into the heart because
Yeah.
the heart has its rhythm, the brain has its rhythm, but for the
Yeah.
brain to highly function, the heart must come up into the brain.
Mm. Yeah.
If the brain is running the heart, I'll tell you, your life is falling apart,
Yeah. Yeah, I like
right?
to say we've got to get out of the head and into the body. And you're saying something very similar, right? Like you have to sort of listen to the heart space, right? We live, from the neck up, most people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Society has so normalized stress
Mm-hmm.
and the pace that we go that if you're not sort of at that pace and in that kind of, it's almost a race to see who's more stressed out,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not in the game, right? And I think the
Well,
word,
and I
yeah,
don't know, like if you saw this in HR, but I used to see this a lot when I worked in corporate. Like I'd catch people before they needed to go to HR to go, I need stress leave, right?
yeah,
And I'd even say to a couple of the managers, whatever, I go, oh, we better worry about Joe. What's wrong with Joe? I said he wasn't looking good when he came into town. And he's like the big foreman out in the field doing the pipeline, right?
yeah.
And then next thing you know, red alert, Joe's just been air vac. And I'm like, come on, guys, we got to do better.
We've got to do
Right?
a lot better and
Because
take a,
they think, well, Joe's
yeah.
only 41 years old. He's not going to have a heart attack out there.
Oh
And
gosh.
and I know other people working with the burnout cycle. And I
Mm.
said, do you guys realize the burnout cycle is no longer? That's a passe thing. And they said, what do you mean? By the time you realize you're in burnout, you're knocking on death's door,
Yeah, it's too late,
right?
right?
There's
It's
no
too late.
coming back from burnout anymore.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
a person who's gone through burnout a lot, right?
yeah,
Um,
yep.
and so it's taking our background and understanding that it was the gift we had to make a different choice going forward. And
Mm.
this is a big thing that has been a theme coming in for 26 and beyond is no longer is time going to be linear as it's leaving, it's going to be secular.
Mm. Tell me a little more about that.
So we used to always say, well, It's because we hate being in the present so much.
Mm.
Well, that's in the past. I'm looking forward to the future. And we'll
Oh,
just forget the presents.
yeah,
Where the circular timeline is your present.
yeah,
Future thoughts may come in, but
yeah,
you're present watching them. Past thoughts might come in, but you're present as you're saying, that's okay.
yeah,
It's about
yeah,
the presence in as the things swirl around us, that we
yeah,
don't take it on in this frame.
yeah. And I always thought, how much more powerful, effective people could be if they were to embrace some of these tools, right? For me, like I said, it was something that was coming with me along the way. I needed it. I was feeling at kind of my wit's end many, many years,
Mm-hmm.
where if I didn't have the yoga practice, if I hadn't begun to reduce the amount of alcohol I was drinking, if I didn't begin to increase the greens in my diet, just all the things that I could think to do to live a healthier life. But I used to think to myself, imagine if dozens, hundreds, thousands of people could embrace these tools while still in corporate, right? And not wait for the heart attack to come, not wait for the life event, not wait for the cancer diagnosis, right? How much more effective the world really could be, right?
Well, and I've seen scientists lately that are saying cancer and um, or all disease is a trapped emotion
Yeah,
that you think,
yeah,
well, I'll just stuff it down, stuff it down, stuff it down until it's like,
yeah.
can't stuff it anymore.
You can't stuff it anymore,
Right.
right?
So,
Especially the work that you do with men.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you don't have to tell me this, but did you did you stop the wine because addiction, or you just realized that this doesn't fit its purpose?
It just wasn't serving me,
Okay.
right? It was almost like when you have had too much sugar.
Mm-hmm.
You were eating something that didn't agree with you. Fried food is another example, something I just completely had to eliminate because every time I had it, it gave me a stomach ache. Well, then I realized every time I had a glass of wine, a glass, even a half a glass of wine, it's going to give me a headache. It wasn't serving me.
Mm-hmm.
Coupled with the fact of the stress level, being in the office, knowing I needed to be my level best for my team, for myself, for my husband, and that wine just wasn't serving me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's really cool because, I mean, people always say, "Oh, I gotta lose the weight," or "I shouldn't drink," or it's like
yeah,
take the should haves out
yeah, yeah,
and say, "Is this bringing me closer to my authentic self?"
yeah,
If it's a yes, keep doing it. If it's not, don't.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And you can even take it a step further if you believe in that higher power or God. Is this bringing me closer to God or my higher truth?
I 100% do believe in God and a
Yeah.
strong spiritual life. And I often felt that way to say, I feel a separation from God, right? If I'm, using alcohol versus not using alcohol, I have so much more space and room in my life to receive the Holy Spirit, to feel more connected to God, right? When you're feeling your best, you're sleeping so much better. That was the key, right? Alcohol was interrupting my sleep. That
Mm-hmm.
was a big one for me, right? I need 8 hours. I just do. And even a glass or two of wine would interrupt my sleep. I'd sleep for a few hours and then I would be awake. Here comes the anxiety. Here comes all the sort of worry about the following day of what I had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Almost immediately, when you stop drinking wine or whatever your, alcohol beverage of choice is, your sleep improves dramatically. So your brain is getting the rest that it really needs. Your heart is slowing down. Inflammation is coming down in the body. And you go, I actually have a little more time. Don't I have more time to do my meditation or my yoga practice or take a walk,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or to be a little nicer to my husband,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah,
Well, and it was funny because someone asked me, "How do you walk every day?"
yeah,
And I said, "I'm still not walking as much as I would have if I was going to an office."
Exactly.
right? Because I used to go to the office, walk around the
Right.
office on my lunch break, go for my
Yeah.
walk around the office, and then come home.
Yeah.
I'm just doing my lunch hour walk,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
mean,
used to I used to do that too. I used to like to take walks, kind of midday, and I would encourage my team to have some of their meetings. You could just as well have a meeting while you're walking with your phone as you can sitting at your desk if you're on a conference call. Why not take that conference call outside, right? Little
well,
things.
I would caution on that because me, who's super good at hearing, I hear the birds and miss what you're saying,
Ah, fair point.
right? So it's like, and even when I go and walk and walk on my phone, I'm always like, this person, can I talk to them? No. This person, yes. Some people they just won't have my phone call. And I'm like, fair enough, because I'd be the same way,
Okay. Yeah.
right? If there's too much
Hmm.
background noise and whatever, it's like,
Too much going on. Yeah, I know. I hear that. If it's too windy, don't do it.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, so that's interesting. I want to get more into the faith and the spirit of God because I just feel that's where we are for this new year
Mm,
of truly letting the outside noise go,
mm,
coming inward and hearing the
yeah,
truth of what our heart is saying is true.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and yes, I know a lot of people use yoga as their time with God. What's some other ways that, without going into the church,
yeah,
that you would say that could help people be more mindful, more centered, more in the
yeah.
presence?
Absolutely. It's such a great time of year to sort of be setting our intentions. How do you want to live? How do you want to show up for this new year? Right? God knows we need more peace. The
Mm-hmm.
world needs more peace. The US needs a lot more peace. Okay, and it's hard, fighting against that news cycle. So one of the things that I would say straight away, if you are struggling with your spiritual life, if you're struggling to hear God's voice, please turn off the news, right? Just try to give yourself some quiet time.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to go back to what I mentioned earlier around really small shifts. Not everyone has time for a daily meditation practice, right? My husband and I do a daily meditation practice, and we usually do a guided meditation. Not everybody has time for that,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you are commuting to work, for example, and you can listen to a podcast like yours, where you're talking about the spiritual life, where you could just consume a little bit almost of what other people are doing
Mm-hmm.
for their spiritual walk, right? I think that can be really healthy. So, time in silence, this year for Christmas, I requested a pair of, um, kind of noise reducing headphones where I can just really get into the zone, something simple like that. Um, you mentioned, people sometimes will use their yoga practice as their spiritual work,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't have to be yoga, right? It can be that walk around the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, you're out in nature of some kind. Even in my neighborhood, I don't have a ton of, nature and trees around me, but it's a pretty suburban neighborhood with lots of houses. But there's some palm trees around and there's a beautiful breeze out, right? It's kind of tuning into that to say, where is God for me today? How do I want to receive God's presence today? You said, not mentioning the church, but the fact is, less and less people are in churches anyway. People are not choosing to go to church, but I do pray that people are at the same time not choosing God, right? We can still choose God and
Well,
not choose church, right?
and I want to say, like, I'm not against the church at
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
I um as far as I know, I still lead the number of new Christians to baptism in my old church. Um on the other hand, I've also seen people at the church thinking that they're doing God's work.
Yeah.
They got run to the ground and died,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I came from a very like open church, very like for instance, there's many times the different pastors would say, I spent hours making this sermon today and I'm not using it. I'm
Mm.
being led a different way.
Yeah.
And me being an intuitive and I can see energy, I'd be like, oh, this is going to be good. My friend would be like, why? I go, I can see the download coming in. Right. And so they didn't speak about it,
Mm.
but those like me who knew.
Mm.
Right. And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
and then it'd be like a fantastic sermon. And I'd be like, oh, I love when God leads this church. Because it's like, but then I'd go, I'm curious what he wrote though. Right?
Yeah.
And so my family was my one set of family was brought up in the Nazarene church, and they toured all over with the church, singing and whatever. And they came to Calgary, and I said, oh darn it. And she goes, what? And I go, it's our worst pastor talking. And after she says, if that's your worst, you are in God's hands. I
Wow.
go, I know,
Amazing.
right?
Amazing.
And
Yeah.
then it started shifting. I started shifting. Couldn't
Mm.
stay.
Mm.
Then I went to a spiritual church. Loved it. And then all of a sudden I got it's time to go. And I'm like, go where?
Mm.
Right. And now I'm in that search for whether it's church or community or whatever
Yeah.
that think the same, that tribe, right?
Yeah.
And so speaking like how you mentioned that I work with the men,
Yeah.
I'm trying to find those corporates that aren't on social media,
Mm.
that know there's more to life than doing the 9 to 5 grind. They're not showing up to your yoga class,
No.
right?
No.
They
No.
might come to the book study that I had. A couple
They
came to
might.
the book study,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And then I remember one of my project managers is like, oh my God, some days you just exasperate me. And I go, good, I'm working.
It's working.
And he
Yeah.
goes, pardon? I said, for you to get like all flustered and don't know what to do, that means what
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing with you is working. And
Mm-hmm.
he lives around the corner from me, and every once in a while I'll see him. I go, "Are we good?" He goes, "Yeah," and I will get a hug, right? But I mean, but I
Yeah.
knew when I was hitting that button, I'm like, "Good, it's working. Good, go." Right?
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that need the work we do the most.
I know. I
They have
know.
no tribe. They have barely have a best friend. They think their best friend is in corporate, and
Yep.
then they're going to walk out the door.
Mm-hmm.
That person they went for coffee with has no time for him when he gets home.
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and so is is finding that tribe
Mm.
that you feel at home with, that you can share your deepest darkest secrets with,
Yeah.
right?
Very
and
tough. Mm-hmm.
and how you use the word safe.
Mm-hmm.
I was working with some veterans and I said, well, safe, and he goes, they went, that's not a word that you can use with us.
Yeah.
And I go, why not? Well, you're safe in a foxhole.
Mm.
And I went, ouch.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. Yeah.
what I've been understanding is words are beginning to become less important, but the
Mm.
ones we choose to use are going to magnify.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I'm thinking I'm holding a safe container for you to come and share your thoughts and feelings. And the veterans are saying, that's not safe. We're going to get blown up. And I'm like,
Mm.
wow. Right.
Mm. Yeah.
So can you have a blanket marketing? No.
You can't. You absolutely can't. The fact that, people are attending church much less,
Hmm.
we're in this kind of in between space. where there isn't this new church, this new space, so to speak, for people to come together for exactly what you're talking about, the things that I want to provide as well. We sort of haven't found the grounding for that quite yet, right? It's almost like we need a new model where people can go, not on the screen necessarily, can show up in person, right? Be together, share their deepest dark thoughts, be in community and feel held,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and I wonder if, in some weird way, the church could be a welcoming space.
Yeah. Yeah. My kind of backdoor methods regarding church are invite people to yoga. Invite people to that DJ dance party. Invite people to a meditation class. They may not want to come on a Sunday morning for a variety of reasons. It's their only day off. Their kids are going to baseball or what have you.
Hmm.
But maybe they're free to come on a Wednesday night or a Thursday afternoon or a lunch club on a Sunday, afternoon, perhaps. I think we really need to kind of dig and find some alternative ways to invite people to come in that doesn't necessarily scare them away. Yeah.
Well, whoever's listening to this and wants to give me ideas, I'm open.
Okay.
Just give me a call. because
Wonderful.
because I really am trying to figure out where that place is. Um
Yeah.
Zoom's working to an extent, but I
Hmm.
also know um I have to get in front of people.
So I'm kind of just curious to know, like, have you done events on Eventbrite or anything like that in addition to your Zoom? You have. Yeah.
Yep. Whatever
Yeah.
I put out, whatever I put out in events, I put on Eventbrite and stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And you're in Calgary, right? So you're in a pretty metropolitan area,
yeah, but
right?
we have the opposite, right? We say, "Oh, it's too cold and snowy to go up,"
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like I was saying, "Oh, it's really nice that 2026 came in as a lamb, but we haven't seen the sky or anything because it's been intense fog. Like we live on the ocean, we don't get fog. Like, whatever." And today it's snowing, so snow with fog. Like, whatever. Like, right? Because it doesn't make sense.
Mm,
Our weather
yeah.
patterns do not make sense. We're
Yeah.
usually dry, blue sky, like Arizona. We
Mm.
haven't had blue sky. We're humid as all get out, and
Wow.
it's cold.
Oh, yeah. That
So
is
it's
weird.
like,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so, but it just shows that we are changing, and how are we accepting these changes, and how are we staying grounded in our mindfulness,
Yeah.
which is how this whole conversation started, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how, and more not how, is are we being cognizant of we're too much in the head
Yeah.
and not our heart? And where's the balance?
And
Because
where's the
if the
balance?
heart is running the head,
Mm.
the path is clear. The flow is there. The struggle is gone.
Mm.
If it's the head running the heart,
Mm.
mountains are coming down.
Yeah. Things feel hard. You
Yeah.
feel stuck. And
Yeah.
you wonder why you feel stressed out and you're not sort of in your flow,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very cool. Um, how, well, I mean, you're also maybe of the age to retire anyways, but how would you say someone who's working HR, because you know HR, say
Yeah.
42, 45, and going,
Mm.
I don't know. Am I supposed to stay? Can I put in another 10, 15 years?
Yeah.
Or do
Yeah.
I take the leap and
Yeah.
trust?
Yeah. I would hope for anyone who's listening who is in that space, who's in their 40s, even 50s, or in their 60s, and is still very much in the corporate space, and they need to be in the corporate space. They've committed to college tuition, they have children that they're still raising, right? It's almost like, yeah, it's ideal to be able to sort of leave that life behind and embark on something new like we've done,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's it's a different path. But really, the work is for those who are still in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
How do we help those people day to day? And what can they do to cope, to build more capacity? Because they just need more of themselves, quite frankly, right? It's almost like I don't have enough time in the day. I don't have enough time to exercise. I don't have enough time to do the grocery shopping, or, I'm working 12 hours a day, all this kind of stuff. You got to sort of get your boundaries around you to a point to say, okay, what's the most important thing, right? Compassion for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
for other people, right? If you can possibly embrace that idea of compassion, self-love for yourself, for other people that are around you, especially if you are managing a team, if you
Mm-hmm.
have people working for you, they need that from you. They need that understanding. They need that compassion. They would love to hear you say, when's the last time you got a workout in? Right? Have you had any downtime?
Mm-hmm.
How's the family? Right? Where we can normalize the fact that although we are in corporate jobs, we all have a life.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not ignore that about one another. And I feel like I spent a lot of years, particularly, in those male-dominated areas of business, where it's as if you don't have a family. It's as if you don't have anything else going on aside from the job.
Mm-hmm.
But today, as the millennials and the Gen Xers are coming in, it's like help your managers to understand you do have a life and you need that work-life balance. Men who are taking care of small children now, right? Where in our generation, it's like the men weren't taking care of the little kids, not, it was a woman's
Well,
job,
and
right?
and it's interesting. The latest statistic is 1 in 4 men are staying home.
Yeah, right. And we need to honor that. And I feel like that's the real shift that's coming for corporate to understand, for our leaders, for our C-suite to understand that we need to recognize that people have these very full lives. And without the self-care, without the compassion, we are going to continue to burn people out. And
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to have to train someone new and you're going to have to start over. How about we really nurture the talent that's inside and show people that companies can be different? We can do things differently if we truly, not just in words, but with our actions, that we truly can care for people, allow them the space and the time for self-care so that they can take care of their families, take care of themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Help them to sort of understand what that work-life balance could be. Yeah,
Well, and that's so important because whether it's having the book club, doing yoga at
yeah,
lunchtime, going for those walks, right? Like I remember uh there was a manager that was at my company and he walked by my girlfriend and I having lunch and he goes, "Oh, I just love everyone got blackberries cuz now they're mine 24/7."
yeah,
And we both laughed and we said, "We're never working for you."
yeah.
And he stopped. He goes, "What?" And I go, "We'll never work for you because blackberries don't mean you own us 24/7."
No, no.
Just the mentality of that. It's like, okay, that was Stone Age, right?
Stone Age. Yeah,
So, like, you might not have a life outside of this job, but we do,
yeah,
and we're not
yeah.
giving it to you.
Yeah. But I do feel like people almost wear that sort of busyness like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Sort of who's busier, right? Who has more stress? Who has more to do? It's almost like we compare how busy and how stressed out we are within our friends, within our colleagues. And if we could just sort of step back from that a little bit to say, how about if we compare notes on how well did you take care of yourself? Oh, I got
Mm-hmm.
a yoga class in last week, or I was able to go for 3 walks, right? And I spent a
Mm-hmm.
little extra time with my kids, and my husband and I had a date night, right? Those kinds of conversations aren't exactly normalized
Mm-hmm.
yet, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and it's making time for what you truly want to do.
Yes. Yeah. Right. What do you really treasure? Where can you find those moments of peace for yourself? for
Well,
your
and I
family.
and I've learned over the holidays,
Yeah.
I'm alone too much.
Ah,
So
okay.
getting thrown into a big mix of people,
Mm,
I don't do well.
okay.
And I was
Did you have a
like,
couple of
don't just
family encounters over the
I just kept
holidays?
on leaving. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't handle this and I'd leave. But that doesn't help either, right?
Yeah.
But
No.
it's the awareness, like someone pointed it out to me the other day that, like pre-pandemic, I was I was living for other people. Post-pandemic, I was granted the um the okay
Mm.
to be me and my hermit.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
now it's like, oh, it's so funny. Even though I have been looking for a while for community, and it's like I'd have to put myself in the responsibility. It's up to me to find that
Yeah.
community. I
Yeah.
keep trying and trying, and I'm like, yeah,
Mm.
you know. And
Yeah.
where that community is, I don't know, but I'm open and I'm willing to find it.
Yeah.
And I know when it shows up, it'll be beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is in the seeking. I think it's so important what you said there, that you continue to seek. And if we can continue to encourage other people to
Hmm.
seek what it is that's really in your heart,
Hmm.
right? To ask those sort of reflective questions, just,
Hmm.
on kind of a weekly basis. What am I really looking
Well,
for
and I
this
also have
life?
an amazing friend and mentor who's 98, lives on her own, still drives, still like,
Amazing. Amazing.
and I'll be like, well, we should get together. And she goes, yeah. I go, I know, you have no time. And she has so much that she loves doing.
Wow, I
Like
love
she
that.
paints and she walks and she has her kids and her grandkids and she travels and I'm like, ah,
Beautiful.
yeah. So
That is a life well lived.
oh yeah, and we have no doubt she's going to 100 plus.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing. That's great.
yeah.
That's an inspiration.
Oh, I know. That's I've watched her since I was 30, going,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
you're teaching me how to live.
Yeah.
And she goes, no, you have to live. And I go, no, you're the shining monarch.
Have you had her on your show?
No,
You should.
I don't think she will.
No?
Just the technology and the hearing.
Mm.
It
Yeah, you'd
does.
almost have to have one of her grandkids kind of set it up.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
no, I think yeah, like even cell phones now give too
Oh.
much feedback.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, no, and like through the pandemic, she was one of the speakers at the rallies, and like the rallies are noisy. They're outside. There's anywhere from 2 to 10,000 people, and she got up to speak, and it's like you could hear a pin drop
Mhm. Wow.
because she said, "I was born in Hitler's time.
Oh, wow.
Nothing
Incredible.
closed."
Wow.
And everyone went,
Incredible.
"What?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
And so, and I don't know how much you know of Canadian politics, but our province is up against Canada right now.
Mm.
You are destroying this country. If you keep it up, we're leaving. And no, we're not coming to America.
No, I bet not. I'd like to know where you're going to go.
We'll be our own country.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like I don't foresee us breaking out, but if we did, we'd probably take the western provinces.
Mm. Well, I wouldn't doubt if in my lifetime in the US, we don't become sort of just red and blue, and we have the entire West Coast sort of separate from the rest of the country. Yeah.
Well, and here's another thought that could be far fetched. Um, I don't know, but the world taking all borders down
Mm.
and the farmers of the world looking after the farmers of the world, the resources of the world looking after the resources of the world, the tech worth looking at. Like,
Yeah.
could it get that far? Maybe,
Maybe. Yeah.
maybe not in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Might have to come back another lifetime to see it. I
Yeah.
don't know. But it's
Yeah.
just it's and whether you like your president or you don't like your president, I heard something very um, well said, whether it's true or not. Uh, do you think he's not protecting America while the craziness around falls?
Mm,
He's making sure America's protected
mm,
so you don't fall.
mm.
And I was like, that is very well said. I
Yeah.
paraphrased it. But
Yeah.
but the thing is like everyone's just saying, oh, he's crazy. Well, we knew that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why he's there.
Yeah.
Right? I would have a crazy Trump more than a um an idiotic Carney.
Yeah. I
The
hear you.
Carney destroyed Britain,
Mm,
right? And he's coming to do it to Canada and our province is saying you're not doing it to us,
I see. Wow.
right?
Yeah. It's
So
interesting. It really is. Mm-hmm.
yeah. And so like, with an HR background, you want the best fit,
Yeah.
not the forced one that's being paid to be put there.
Exactly.
And that's also
Exactly.
with immigration too, right? They're
Yeah.
bringing in so much immigration, the government's paying 60% of their wage so we can't have jobs.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. It is really fascinating what's going on, not only here, but obviously in Canada too,
Hmm.
right? Yeah.
Well, it's just like I had a garage store guy come the other day. He's from Ukraine, been here 4 years, just under 4 years. He has a job. He's never not had a job. His Canadian friends don't have jobs.
Mm. Makes you wonder, huh?
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So that's where, like, will the men find me? I believe so
Yeah.
because I trust in me and I trust in God.
Yeah.
And I also know that I switched to men primarily because they asked me to.
Mm. Right.
I would not have switched to them.
That's your lane.
Yeah, because I was like, man, what are you talking about, man? And then
Yeah.
I went through my history, only had men as friends, worked with men primarily, oil and
Mhm.
gas, right?
Yeah.
Like my closest confidants are male.
Hmm. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have girlfriends,
Yeah.
but my confidants are male.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Hmm.
Listening to your programs and who you've interviewed and the space that you're in. Yeah, I think it's very unique what you offer for men as a female in their space.
Hmm.
I think it's very unique. Yeah.
Well, I get them,
You get them. Yeah.
right? Like I
Yep.
remember we're years ago, maybe we were in our 20s, and we were out at a club, and my friends are like, why don't all these guys tell you their whole life story? I said, because I'm safe. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make sense. I go, whatever. And
Yeah.
they go, how do you understand that guy? Like he's like he's talking a different language. I go, he's talking engineering. What the hell
Mm.
is that? And I go, math. And they go, we don't get math. I know. Right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's
Yes.
like, and then it's like, I'm talking to a girlfriend of mine and whatever. And I said, get back into the music. And she goes, well, and I go, it's math. You're just switching it. And she goes,
Yes.
you're right. Because she's been like in the engineering
Hmm.
and I'm like, just switch back to math
And how many engineers do we know who are musicians, right?
or painters or
Yes.
writers or,
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
and that's that leap, right? Like male, female, you're 40, 45. Yes, you have a roof to keep over your house, like, and food to put on the table. But why is it only your responsibility?
Hmm. Amen.
Yes,
Yep.
a lot of women have had to make it only their responsibility, but
Yes.
also don't have babies with these men that aren't sticking around.
Exactly.
No judgment, no judgment.
No,
Nope, nope,
no,
nope,
no, no. No, we're not judging.
no. So as we start to wrap up, and we've gone all over the gamut with this. Apologies for the political, but it's just it is what it is, right?
It's life.
It's outside of us. How do
Yeah.
we bring it home to us? What
Yeah.
were some final thoughts, or what do you want people to know more about you or what you do? Like,
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I really want people to think about how can they increase their own level of natural energy, right? It's all about the energy. You go through seasons of life where you're not connected to that, or it's bad energy, it doesn't feel like you're flowing, right?
mm-hmm,
So I like to think about, the work that I do is around increasing one's natural energy.
mm-hmm,
How can we get people to think about the way that they're breathing, the way that they're standing, the way that they're holding themselves, the way they're communicating? What's the tribe? As you mentioned, you're sort of looking for your people. Who are you surrounding yourself with, and what's that energy like? Right? It's
mm-hmm,
something that I believe is really worth exploring, especially for the new year in 2026. Adele, I've sort of pledged for myself more peacefulness, right?
mm-hmm,
And it's more peacefulness in my mind,
mm-hmm,
in my body, in my relationships, and in my business. Right?
mm-hmm.
And if you can think about the spectrum of peace in the different areas of your life, I think that in and of itself would be helpful to people. Just to reflect on what is the level of peacefulness that you'd like to bring to yourself, and what level of peacefulness are you putting out into the world, right? And that's what I consider to be the positive path.
Well, and
Yeah.
I just want to mention to people who are listening to this. So here you are, an HR specialist, and how many people are never retiring anymore?
I know.
They're just going from maybe corporate, maybe entrepreneurship, to
Yeah.
buying another business, to building a business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is that what you see as a trend also? That retirement is a word of the past,
To some
and
extent, yes. Just to
and
some extent,
we
yeah.
just keep on reimagining how great we can be in a different field.
Well, I think it's an excellent point, because when I was getting ready to wrap things up in corporate, I didn't like that people were saying that I was retiring. It's like, no, I'm refiring, I'm rewiring, I'm recharging, I'm renewing, I'm reassessing, right? It never felt like retirement. It felt like, what do I want to do to come back to the real me, to my true self, right? And that's what the journey was about for me. I felt like I put that off for a really long time,
Mm-hmm,
where I did what I had to do and I made the money that I needed to make to support my family. And I had a great career. It was very rewarding.
mm-hmm,
But for, I think, a lot of people like me who were in a stressed out corporate situation, they want something else.
mm-hmm,
They want a chance to do something more that feels a little more life-giving,
mm-hmm.
right? I always like to say, how can we help people feel more alive? What is it for you that helps you feel most alive? I bet it's not that corporate job, right?
Well, and but it's also, this is what I've been helping people with, when they come to me for career stuff, is that
Yeah,
it's not your hard skills.
yeah,
It's those soft skills that you want to keep
yeah,
building and using, and where do those soft skills take you,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because as much as I was in corporate, I was always a contractor. I've only had one job ever as full time,
I
and I
see.
was like, oh, this is interesting. I can't do this. I lasted 4.5 years, but I had 30 years in corporate, right? But it's just like I never thought of the job. I just went, all right, I'll come help, and
Yeah.
then was open to the expansion of where this could be. And
Hmm.
one of the places was like, I went in to just help them do some cleanup, photocopying, whatever, right? Like menial, whatever. Then they said, "Oh, could you help us? We're in the process of the ISO 9000 certification."
Mm.
And if anyone listening doesn't understand this, this is like a world definition of if you pass this, you're stamped approval. What they didn't tell me before I said yes was this was their last shot. The parent company has been approved. We're the subsidiary company that builds everything for the parent company.
Mm.
I said, what do you mean last shot? Well, if we don't pass, we don't pass. We can't
Mm.
do it again.
Oh,
And I'm like, are you
yeah.
joking?
No pressure.
No pressure, right? As a little peon that comes in. But what helped though was the vice president of the parent company that was helping us do this certification was
Mm.
where my family's from, Trinidad, Tobago, and Guyana. So we got along thick as thieves,
Mm.
right? And we did pass. So I was very grateful, right? But you imagine if I was that kind of person who had to know all those crazy high stress details first,
Yeah.
wouldn't have happened.
No.
I
No.
just went, whatever. They want me to type some stuff up. They want me to take some notes. Okay, whatever. And then it was really funny because for a while there I was working in the back shop, and and then when I left, he phoned me at home and he says, "Can you please come back?" And I said, "No, the project's done." I said, "Why?" He goes, "They're all back swearing and being men." I didn't know they stopped swearing when I was there. I had no
Oh,
idea that they all of a sudden got manners.
interesting.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
Mm.
thought they were just always like this. And so this is what's really interesting. Are you working the job for you or the
Yeah.
paycheck?
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to get people working for them in a corporate environment as well. They can work for
Yes.
them and have
Yes.
get fulfilled without just getting the paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And I think for me, that's where I was able to find some of that balance, whether it was putting a little yoga into corporate, doing some meditation into corporate, I needed more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very individual decision, for every person. If
Mm-hmm.
you can find some of these tools, whether it's even just putting on your headphones and listening to some beautiful music that makes you feel connected to God during your lunch hour, then you
Yeah.
should do that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or even finding a boardroom by yourself
exactly. Exactly right. Yeah,
and having your lunch in peace or whatever.
absolutely. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
well, Kathleen, this has been a fascinating conversation.
Thank you.
Um, I will have all your links and everything in the show notes
Beautiful.
and how they can reach you if they choose to. Um, any final thoughts, words before we close?
I would just say that society has normalized many of the things we're all living with, be it stress or using alcohol on a regular basis. Let's try to question some of those norms. And I believe that's what makes all the difference as we're, coming together with people like you, who's a bright light in the world to say, you know what, we can do things a little bit differently, and we should try to
Mm-hmm.
support one another in that. I think it's so important. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Um, really generous of you to just spend this much time with me. And I just want to wish you a happy, happy new year.
Thank you, and I wish you all the best for 2026 too.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Once again, I want to thank Kathleen Gallagher for being on the show. Um, we touched on a lot of different things, and I just want everyone to realize that whatever might seem hard or you're not understanding the journey is because you're looking outside yourself. When you come into the presence of God, into the presence in your own body and into your heart, you'll find the peace, you'll find the flow, you'll find the knowingness that you know that you're here for a reason. You are a chosen one to be here at this time. And 2026 will be different. I'm not going to say it's going to be easier because no one's saying it's going to be easier, but it is going to be a different energy going through to 26 than 2025. And whether you work with me at Transition Clarity to come through the 8 week program of self discovery, of the finding that inner gifts that you were given as you took a body for this lifetime, or you work with Kathleen in mindfulness and yoga and presence. Either way, we're both here. In the show notes, we'll have both of our contact information and more information on what we do. And once again, thank you for listening. Please share, like, and subscribe. And we'd love to have your comments. Thank you.